So as we progress through the learnings, the cool part is we're learning and growing, and we're really starting to appreciate and understand who we are as a human. And I think that's a really exciting time. You know, we started at the start, and there was a lot of uncertainty and fear and hesitation, and now we're getting to the stage where we're really starting to feel and understand who we are as a person, and that's really critical. That's why this learning here about navigating your true north and finding what's true to core is really, really important, because the fact of the matter is it doesn't really matter how far we stray from course. It doesn't matter if we're way out here and this is our true destination. All that matters is that we're making our way back. Now, I guess for me, this is a very personal thing for me. You know, when I was young, I always had a thing for people. And, I was a swimming instructor, and I used to really enjoy teaching people how to swim. I was young, I was 15 and 16. And then I started to look at special needs children. I started to be like, wow, like I want to learn more and understand more about them and what's going to help them create a level of confidence in the pool and safety. And for some people, it was just them being in a pool meant that their bones or their limbs or their muscles, there was no pain. So it was really nice. And so I always had this thing for people. But then all of a sudden I turned 18 and I found myself in the Navy. And I joined submarines, and I went on this journey. I was a submariner in the Navy, and I was doing intelligence and all this cool ass stuff. But for me, none of it really made sense. I never really wanted to be in the Navy. I never had this goal as a young child to be in the Navy or be a submariner. But I did it. And then after that, I lived in Africa. And I spent a number of years in Africa: South Sudan, Somalia, Ethiopia, Kenya, Tanzania, Nigeria, all over the place. And again, I was doing some awesome stuff over there, Ebola response, contingency planning through borders, and living a cool life and doing some really hair-raising things. But then when I think about it, it wasn't what was true to me, but I was doing it. And I was still searching, seeking more. And I was like, there's got to be more to this life. And I was earning money, traveling the world, and life was great, right? I had a wife, and I had 2 children at the time. Life's amazing. But I was still searching, seeking for more. And I'm like, what else? What now? I remember that's been a bit of a curse for me when I was younger. When I got my dolphins as a submariner, which is like our pilot wings if you're a pilot, I was now thinking, okay, what else do I do now? What more? And for me, I've always been searching and seeking for that what more. And then I thought, okay, when I come back from Africa, maybe the answer is to start a big company. And maybe if I have $1,000,000, I'll be contented and satisfied. So I did that. I built that company, and then I was still going, now what? And when does this now what sort of end? And when is enough enough? And why am I still searching for more? I've been in submarines, I've traveled, I've got money, family, kids. Like, I'm still here searching, seeking more, and it was confusing for me. And then what happened is I was on the way to hospital. My wife was pregnant with our 4th child, and she was already in hospital, and I was coming back to the hospital with my 3 kids. And we thought she was in labour, she wasn't. So I was coming to pick her up. And I was going down a road, down a ramp, and we'd stopped because I was giving way to my right, and this truck, bang, rear-ended us. So my car was smashed up. I had my 3 boys in the back seat. My wife was in hospital already. I was literally 5 minutes away from hospital. This big truck, bang, straight into the back of us. The back of the car was totaled. The kids luckily were okay. My neck and back weren't so. But I was like, I need to get to the hospital. And I said to this, we exchanged details. And long story short, I limped our car. The car would still start because it was just the back of it that was all smashed. I limped the car to the front bay at the hospital, and it was all smashed up. I went to emergency with me and my kids to get myself checked out. But meanwhile, before that, I rang my wife. I said, we've just had a car accident. I'll be a bit late picking you up. She then went into labour. So I'm now going, oh my God, like, I'm in the emergency. I'm getting checked out by the spinal neck guy. My children are getting checked out in emergency. A doctor comes down and says, you need to go to the birthing suite. Your wife's about to give birth. So I'm ringing friends to say, can you pick up these 3 kids? Because I didn't want them to be in the birthing suite. I went up to the birthing suite. Literally 30 minutes later, we had our 4th child. By that night, by 6 o'clock, our vehicle had been picked up from the car park at the hospital, totally smashed up. I had a replacement vehicle. I'd had a 4th child. By 6 o'clock that night, we were drinking moe out at Murrum Bateman in the winery, celebrating the birth of our 4th child, going, what just happened today? But what just happened not only was the birth of our 4th child, but for me, it was a massive journey of real self-exploration where I went and spent time with a monk. I went and started to question a lot, and I'd been on this journey, but I guess, the pinnacle was the trucks really smashing me and really just redirecting my life and my focus. And I was always been about people, but it was this defining moment that really brought it back to people and what was important, because I went and explored different things, and my life just took on a whole new meaning. And that's where the human effect was predicated or born from. So for me, one thing that I know is when you're not coming from a place of truth or core, or when you're not coming to your true north and you're straying from that, you're forever searching, seeking for more, wondering what else is there. And for me, I had that, and the most confronting thing was I had all the success. Submarines, traveling, Africa, man, business class, rocking it as a consultant in Africa. I got hair-raising stories. I've been shot at. I've been in prison. It's a cool life, right? I could write a novel about it. But yet still I would sit there going, but I'm not happy. I'm not contented. I'm not fulfilled. And it was a very confronting thing because then I started to feel guilty. I should be happy. I've got everything. Man, most people would die for this lifestyle. Why am I so not happy? And it was because I wasn't following what was true to me. People is what's always been true to me. So the one thing I know is that when we deviate from what's true, we start looking and searching and wanting more. And until we come back to this place, we're not contented. I remember one time I was consulting and I was in the city and I was advising. And again, with my company, it was amazing. And I remember just walking out of there and I just walked through the city and I just wanted to be a part of people. I didn't want to be doing what I was doing, and yet it was so successful. And I remember just walking around and I found this guy and he was homeless and he was in the street and he'd always just be doing artwork. And I used to walk past him and go, wow, I get that he's homeless and that's not cool. And, I would love to help this guy out. But he's sitting there doing art. I was more inspired that he was sitting on the street doing artwork than doing my high-end consulting to government and advising government on strategies, etc. And I remember sitting there and I spoke to him. I just wanted to talk to him. I just wanted to be a part of something, be a part of community and people. And that was another big defining moment. And I sat there and I said, hey, mate, are you hungry? I can do some shopping. I want to buy you some food and some water. And so I did. I said, can I have a look at your artwork? And he's like, yeah, of course. So I gave him some food and fruit and some water and we sat down and we chatted. And he was doing some artwork. And one of the funny things is a couple of the high-end, where I was working at the time, people, very senior walked past me and gave me the strangest of looks. Like, what are you doing? Like, why are you talking to this guy? And it was then on that just hit me again, bang, kind of like the truck. It just hit me and I realized, wow, why am I doing this? Why am I spending my time and energy consulting and advising people who are very immature in their ways and very one-dimensional? I don't want to be doing that. There's a greater level of service that I want to be providing. And again, that was another really defining moment. And here I was sitting with a homeless guy going through his artwork, and it was one of the best experiences. It was an hour that I sat there with him. It was one of the best experiences of my life. And so for me, I can't really profess how truthful and how important it is that we come back to core, come back to that place of what's really, really important, and we don't deviate from that, despite society might tell us not to, our mother and father might tell us not to. If we don't, we build resentment. And when we stray from what's truth, we don't know who we are, we become lost. That's why we start to ask, well, what else is there? What more? How can I be more? I'm frustrated. I want to do more, but I can't. I'm stuck. And this is why it's so important that we slowly find our way back and we stick to it. Because at the end of the day, it's better to stick to what's truth and stick to your core than to be someone who you're not. It's better to live a life in accordance with you and how you want to operate than anyone else, because you know what? It's our life. And so with that, this is a really, really important learning, because we need to find our way back. We need to find what's truth and what's real and how we want to live our life. If you're doing that and you're absolutely 1000% contented, you're living your mission, you're inspired each and every day, you're creating this ecosystem for you, then that is awesome. But if we're not, it's not a bad thing. We just need to identify that. We need to start to move back towards our true north. And true north, it's not a place. It's not like, just I'll find it tomorrow, bang. It doesn't really happen like that. It's a journey. It's more of a process for living. So the truth with that is that our journey outward is very much mirrored by our search inward. When we don't know self and we don't seek and search and know who we are, we just live in this reality. And then we start to ask ourselves the questions. I'm not happy, I'm not satisfied. It's the external's to blame. But what in actual fact is we're just mirroring our inside. So as we explore the world, we look deeper inside ourselves and we uncover, these truths and what we want to hold on to. And it becomes really evident in who we should become and how we should live our life. And when you find that, it's a really magical thing. The next hard part is to stick to that and not deviate from it. So I guess navigating your true north, it really does seek a lot of exploration. There's a lot of questions that would really help to define that. And the one big thing that I know is that when we ask ourselves these questions, we need to start to document our response. One big thing that I remember doing is I wrote my eulogy. And I was like, wow, if this was it for me now, would I be contented? What would they say about me? And so I did. I wrote my eulogy a number of years ago. And not that I was expecting to die, but I wanted it as a real raw reflection of where I was at right here, right now. And then what I wanted to do later on when I started to transform into my best version, I then wanted to rewrite my future eulogy. Because the point of that is to map the difference between the two. My current eulogy, what would people say about me at my funeral? Would they say I was kind, generous, giving, connected, contributor? I broke free of fear and uncertainty, and I lived my life to my potential. Or is it that I was always held back, I was always restricted, fear just crippled me. I wasn't the nicest person. Not many people say nice things about me at my eulogy, and he was a guy that was never really connected with anyone. He didn't even know himself. So I guess I made a conscious decision. What type of eulogy did I want? And that was very confronting. But the fact of the matter is, it's the confrontingness and when we be really accountable to self, that's where the growth is. Because what I realized, I was like, wow, I don't want to be this guy. I don't want to be living this life through the eyes of someone else. This is my life. Life's not infinite. I need to do this now. And so that's what we're going to do in Navigating Your True North. There's a couple of exercises at the end of this that I really, really want you to reflect on and do. And it's really accountable. And once you do this exercise, we want to talk. I want to talk about your eulogy. What is your current eulogy? Where do you want your eulogy to be? How do you want people to speak of you? What is it that you want to achieve in this world? Who do you need to become to do that? And again, it's a very confronting exercise, but that's where the realism comes into it. And for me, as I said, the profound moment of really coming back to what's true and navigating my true north has never been more inspiring and more daunting at the same time, because this is so much what I need to do and who I need to become. But there's so much fear around that. But one thing is, with fear, it can hold us back, but when we push through it, the free fall is magical and it's beautiful and it's inspiring. So I want you to really reflect on that. Am I who I need to be? Am I following my true north? What am I truly inspired by? What is my passions? What's my gift? How do I want to represent that in this world? The other question I really like to ask is, would your 10-year-old self be proud of you? I asked myself that. And for a while, I tried to really convince myself that, yeah, my 10-year-old self would be super proud of me. But deep down, I knew that was a lie. And I just knew that I didn't have the maturity to answer that question with any level of honesty and truth. But right here, right now, I want you to think about this right here. Is your 10-year-old self, would they be proud of you? Would your 10-year-old self go, yeah, that's exactly the life that I wanted to lead when I was a child? If the answer is yes, then kudos to you. That's amazing. Well done. If the answer is no, that's okay. Because what we want to do is we want to recreate this person. It's about coming back to self. So there's a couple of different exercises that I really want you to reflect on and complete at the end of this video. The exercise it's real accountability time. It's a time for brutal honesty, but it's a time where we A, look at where we're at, B, look at where we're wanting to go, and C, we have questions right here, right now that's going to lead us there. Because what has been, has been. The past doesn't predicate your future. What we need to do is we need to take these learnings, bring it to the present day, look at where we want to go, and put in a roadmap. And again, navigating your true north, one thing I want to stress is that it's not a sprint. It's a marathon, because when you find this place, we stick with it forever. We don't deviate from. So I'm really, really excited for you guys to go through this learning, to do the questions and the exercises in it. There's a lot of growth there. And one thing I really want to know is I want to know where you're going to go. What is true north for you? Who do you need to become? Where am I going to take my future? The expansion of me. And that's a really exciting time. So what I want you to do at the completion of this module, there's a number of different things. There's obviously the exercises, but I want you to do a Facebook Live in the Human Blueprint group on Facebook. I want you to talk about your true north, your story. This is my true north is to be this, to do this, to transition into a business where I take my gift, I heal people, I help people, I mentor, I coach, whatever it is for you. I want you to talk to us and tell us your story, your true north. And that's where the magic happens. So good luck with the learnings. Really reflect on this. And let's be real raw and accountable. And it's going to be a really liberating time. So good luck with the exercises.